Hi, Seaford community. This is Dr. Corey Mikulas, Superintendent of the Seaford School District. This is actually episode 2 of our video meetings, so we can highlight some of the work being done as we plan to reopen our schools. And today I have 3 principals with me. I have Mr. Jim Cave from Seaford Middle School. I have Miss Becky Newbert, principal of Central Elementary School, and I have Dr. Chrissy Jeanette from Blades Elementary School. So to get started, I'd actually like to have Mr. Cave, if you could just take a minute or so and just let us know how you have kept in contact with your families throughout the summer.
Well, throughout the summer, Dr. Memphis, we've tried to stay in contact with our families using the social media platforms that we have for our school, Facebook, we have Twitter account as well, but also just by contacting parents using our Alert Now system as well, reaching out, and every time we get a phone call at the school, being there for our families. But really, the Alert Now is our primary way. Now that we've added the feature of texting with the Alert Now system, we find we get a lot more response from parents. We also, my assistant principals as well, have done a lot of texting with parents. We find parents respond to us really well that way. So just those various ways, social media, I've done some videos on Facebook, just trying to get, as you know, we're trying to get the survey results back in and just kind of keep people as updated as we can. Because every day, sometimes things feel like they're changing on us sometimes, but just try to keep people updated as much as we can.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Our questionnaire that went out, it was actually July 29th, and we received about 2,300 surveys back, but we also had to make a lot of contact with the families. So, Mrs. Newberg, how did you keep reaching out to families to try to get some survey results back?
So each day when we received the survey information back, we cross-referenced with our student population to see who had answered and who had not. We then created a list that could be sorted by not only our 12-month employees, but we reached out to our staff members, our teachers who had a personal connection with their former students, whether it was the year before or even years before. And so from that, they voluntarily reached out to parents in any way they knew, whether it was through the actual parent, a neighbor, a relative, to make sure that information was received. So it was definitely a team effort all hours of the day. And then we also did some door knocking just to see if there was someone we couldn't reach or we didn't have the correct number for whatever reason. We just went to the home and made a personal visit to see what the parents chose for their child for returning.
So, Dr. Jeanette, is that similar to some of the work you've done, Blades?
Yes, that's very similar to what we've done. We did a lot of text messaging, the Alert Nows, and those personal connections through our teachers within the community and contacting family members that they had students previously.
And just to stay with you, Dr. Jeanette, your reopening survey results, what do they look like for your role?
So at Blades, we have about 60% of our students who will be returning in the hybrid model, and 40% of ours who will be doing 100% remote. So within our cohorts, our class sizes are very small. We're looking at about 4 to 9 kiddos in a classroom. And we really have worked to social distance them and are really excited about the prospect of kids returning to our building.
Mrs. Newbert, did anything jump out at you, the reopening results, comments, parents, or staff?
Our return results were about 50-50, and we are continuing with that rate right now. And much like Dr. Jeanette, and I think everyone in the district, our Team Blue and Team Gold cohorts are in relationship to that. So we'll have about a quarter of the students on any given day and spread out amongst all of our classrooms and staff members. It also makes for smaller class sizes within the limits of the area of the room and the recommendations from the Department of Health. So other comments from parents that we noticed were just basically many of them saying thank you and what can we do, regardless of 100% or hybrid. It was thank you for giving us an option and what can we do. And then we had others that needed support with internet, which we definitely have a team working on that in the district. And we had some parents sharing some concerns, and then those that also just wanted to ask a few more questions before they made a decision. So we responded to each and every one of those via email, text, or phone call if we could, just to see if there was anything else we could do to assist, and if we had any answers at that time.
So Mr. Cave, I had I had the opportunity to visit your building this morning, and I was able to see some of your classrooms. But from just kind of walk us through some of the work you've done at the middle school that have the buildings and hallways and prepared for the start of school.
It's been a process. You know, I think we all waited for the guidelines. You know, there was no set. You know, the state kind of came out and said this is what we recommend, and we want to make sure we meet every one of those recommendations in our buildings. I know everybody in this district they're doing it, but like when ours, that's something we really wanted to take care in doing. So we started with simply getting the 6 foot distances figured out. Like, okay, how many desks will fit in a classroom? Every kid is spread out 6 feet apart. How much room does that leave us for our teacher to have a 6 foot radius in the front of their room so they can still move around some? And what does that look like? And so we went through the process of painstakingly, like a lot of the principals here will probably tell you, of then removing everything else that's not necessary. You know, and our teachers will be doing some of that when they come back in next week. Is that our classroom is going to look like student desks, teacher desks, and that's it. And that creates the best environment for our kids to learn in and the safest environment, because at the end of the day, safety's first right now, and then the instruction happens. So it's been right now, this week we started putting out our stars on the floor because we are a movie team this year. So we'll have stars every 6 foot on our floors on both sides of the hallway. So when traffic's going one way, we know exactly which way, how far 6 feet is. When the traffic at a different time, maybe going the other way, they're 6 feet apart. Creating our cafeteria was our biggest adventure, because it wouldn't work with just one child sitting at a table. So we had to clean up the whole cafeteria. And you walk in our cafeteria right now and you have just student desks in the cafeteria. It's really different. It's not something you probably, in a normal school, you'd never see it. And so that's pretty fun for our kids. I think they come in like, wow, this really looks different now when you come in our cafeteria. When our parents come in, you know, it's just gonna look different. And so that's been a lot of moving furniture, finding places to put it, and then creating those safety areas for everybody involved. And if you come to our stage in our auditorium right now, where we've been staging all this stuff that our custodians and our crew has stored and got ordered ahead of time, it's incredible. I mean, that's an incredible walkthrough when you see all the hand sanitizer, the masks, the thermometers, all the stuff that our district has collected well ahead of the curve. Like, this stuff's been sitting there for months because they jumped out in front of this stuff. I mean, that to me is reassuring as an adult and as a person that works in this district, because you walk in and you can tell how much thought and care went into getting this stuff done before June when we thought about coming back. And there's one of the things I feel like that's why I feel so confident in what we're doing, because we have a plan and we know what we're going to do at every bathroom. We're talking down to how we're taping the sign on the bathroom door to say when the door's been cleaned. We're down to those details now in our buildings and probably everybody's buildings across the district. So we're ready in 2.5 weeks when the kids come back. But we're ready for teachers next week because the teachers are coming back next week.
Yeah, so we had the opportunity on Monday, our Delaware Public Health Liaison, the district hosted walkthroughs of buildings. And Central Elementary was one of the buildings we visited. So we saw a lot of really cool ideas for how to focus on the social distancing, all the desks facing one direction. Would you to share some of the real creative ideas Central's come up with?
So initially, we know that parents are going to need to come into the building or into the lobby area. So we created a system where when they drop their child off or bring them in or come to pick them up for whatever reason, we have a digital form that they fill out that automatically generates and goes right to the secretary for them to make the call to the classroom. This way, there's not a lot of transactions of anything, and physical distance is still maintained. And we also are able to collect that important date and time stamp at the touch of a button. So going into the hallways, we're really making it of high importance to still have that air of creativity and brightness and levity that when we see things on the news, it's all bland and bleak. Well, that's really not the case. Our classrooms are still bright and cheery. They're decorated. Our cafeteria manager has done a fabulous job already, just making things as lively as it would be if we had the entire student population. We have the classrooms are all set up like Mr. Cave had said, and all of the proper signage on the floor, the directions. We are one direction at Central Elementary. So the kids will walk in one direction to their classrooms and have a specific side of the hallway. So those are just a couple of the things we've put in place for our physical space, but without making it institutional. I still think it's really important to us.
Yeah, Mr. K really focused on our first priority is the health and safety of our students and staff. That's our focus. But Dr. Jeanette, you know, we are an educational institution. That's what we're here for. So what do you envision the face-to-face and remote learning looking like first?
So, in the pre-K through second grade, we have a new learning management system, which is called Seesaw. It is very user-friendly and very engaging for our students. Students have the ability to video themselves, they can record things, they can complete their work right on their computer through the Seesaw application. The teacher can also upload assignments there. The teacher can record the directions so that if a parent is not sitting with the child directly, that the student can click on a link and it'll hear their actual teacher in the classroom read the directions out loud to the child. So we're really looking forward to using Seesaw. Our teachers are meeting right now to talk about how they're going to be using that and how they're going to be using it both within the classroom as well as home. So for our youngest learners, we feel that it's really important to get them comfortable with Seesaw first, and then transition into more of our curriculum, because we want our students to have those tools to use, whether they are home or whether they are with us in the classroom. We're looking for a one login, so we'll have a badge for the student. The student will have a lanyard with their badge. They'll click on, and that takes them to all the computer programs that we'll be using for instruction within our school. So we're really excited about that. Parents, we heard you. It was hard last spring. We get it. So we're really excited about having Seesaw, and we think that's going to make a huge difference for our youngest learners.
So then when we transition to that 3 to 5 grade range, what are the differences? What's the same?
So we planned, our learning management system for the rest of the schools is Schoology, which many of our students are already familiar with and our teachers are familiar with. And it's a one-stop shop where you go into Schoology and you won't have to have all these other areas that students have to click into in order to get to different things like a Zoom or whatever the other platforms were we used in the spring. Once again, we heard the parents and what they said, like it was just too much or it wasn't clear enough. And so as we work through this, like Dr. Jeanette said, the first couple of weeks, we work through it together and iron out any issues and make sure we have systems and processes in place for kids to get into the learning management system. And whenever we're planning for instruction moving forward, we're planning for full remote instruction, even if our students are sitting in the classroom. So at any time, regardless of what happens, our students can have the same experience in the school with instruction as they can at home. So that's our plan moving forward, to make sure everyone has equal access to the Tier 1 instruction and also any small groups or interventions that they need, 100%.
Mr. Cave, that next transition for 6th through 8th grade, a lot of similarities between you and 3-5, or do you have any differences?
I think there's some similarities and then some differences as we start to move into that. Because we have such a large number of kids on a given day who will be home, we really direct some of our resources, our teaching resources, to that at-home population. So our teachers are going to be split their day. Their day is going to be split where we keep dealing with the kids who are face-to-face, teaching the kids who are face-to-face, as well as teaching the kids who are remote, the kids who are at home. And they're going to have set class times and a schedule. So parents, when you get a schedule from us and you're a remote learner, just like the elementary schools, we're going to send you home a schedule that says, from this time to this time, you're taking this class. From this time to this time, you're taking that class. Now, if something comes up, we're going to record those and save this for you, but we want to make it just like school. It's school. You're just at home. And that's the point I think we all probably want to stress, is that this is school. We consider this to be school. If the kids aren't in the Zoom and the teacher's teaching, if you were in class, we're going to follow up and say, you know, your child wasn't in school today. What's going on? What can we help you with? Because there's obstacles in our way, we want to help you with those. But the remote is going to be just like school. It's going to be a school day. We're going to have a schedule. It'll be all laid out for you. And then your child can work right through that. And it's just the same thing they're getting. That Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be the same instruction. Everybody's getting the same kind of instruction. Maybe tweaked because remote might need a little more tweaking, but it's going to be the same concepts that we're going to try to cover on a daily basis right through the school year. Because you got to come back to school, and we need you ready when you come back to the building. Because eventually we're all coming back to the building, and we want you ready to be there when you walk in the first day.
So, Mrs. Newbert, I'm actually pretend that I'm a parent in your building, and my child is struggling with remote learning. I'm not really comfortable with how to work the computer. Is there a way you can train me to help my child?
So, at our school, initially, we're having a back-to-school blast-off for parents, because we have a space fee, where parents will come in and receive their child's Chromebook. So, once they receive the Chromebook, that's when we'll teach them how to log in and teach the child and what that system is. If there's an issue after that, the district has prepared a hotline, a phone number that they can call in order to get support with technology if it's not something that we can help them with. So teachers are always available, but if it's something that we can't help with, then there's also that district hotline that they can call for tech support.
And then I think about this, I think about those kindergarten students. Here's a computer. How are we going to work with our parents so they can help their kindergarten students navigate our remote learning?
So we're doing our, handing out our Chromebooks slightly different than the upper grades. We're scheduling appointments for each of our families. So the student will come in with one of their parents and will have about an hour of uninterrupted time with that child's teacher. So whether you are remote or whether you are a hybrid, you'll come in, you'll see the actual classroom, the physical space that you're a part of, and your teacher will show you how to log on to the computer, show the parents how to navigate, sign the parents up for their own Seesaw account because the teacher can communicate with the parent through Seesaw, which is like a text message. And we're looking to set all of that up through a individual session with each of our children in our school.
So, Mr. Cave, I also think about those students, say, 7th or 8th grade, where mathematics are become a little difficult, and parents may need to try to work through the computer. Do you have anything set up to train parents and how to help the student?
As far as working with the mathematics or the different content, we do have some videos and things we can link parents to. Lots of resources in our school platform. But the biggest thing I want parents to know is that our teachers will be available twice a day doing office hours. And your child will go and reach out to those teachers, and if they need help, that's what those office hours are for. They're for you and your child. If you want to reach out, I mean, last year in the spring, I did it a bunch of times with parents. Parents would get on my office hours with their child, talk to me about what's going on. That's what those office hours are for. They're going to be set up by content time, so each teacher, whatever content they teach, will have a certain specified time in the afternoons where they'll have their office hours every day. And then if they'll also have, teachers will have, on A day or B day, we'll have office hours with them. And that's when parents go online and have their child go online with them. The teacher will walk them through the whole process and give them all the help they need. That's what we're here for. That's why we're doing it twice a day, so that we know we can support our parents and our kids.
That's great. That was a lot of information to share with our community. I want to thank you for your time. I know that you're extremely busy trying to get your students prepared, communication with families, so I want to thank you for that. That was our second video series on reopening schools. We are planning to actually record a few more videos early next week, some from our nurses, some about technology, so please be on the lookout for those. Thank you.